Cronin Toyota and Cronin Nissan are honored to partner with Proudly We Served, as well as the continued support of our local active and retired military veterans across eastern Indiana.
I'm Al Bledsoe, Veterans of Foreign War, Post 1108.
And I'm Ron Chappell, Chaplain of Vietnam Veterans Association 777 here in Richmond, Indiana.
And I'm Roger Stinson. I'm with the Veterans Memorial Park, and I'm here today to represent the Huey Project that we have acquired a Huey to be installed at the park.
And I'm Pete McDaniel, Wayne County Veteran Service Officer.
And let me say this.
Okay.
Before Roger gets me. I intentionally evaded the chapter part because I knew I was going to mess up.
We was glad you did.
It's an inside joke, folks, okay?
We was glad you did.
Okay, so let's get started with Pete. Tell us a little bit about with Memorial Day coming up, and what is your days looking like? Do you have more activity at your place, or?
Not necessarily in my office. I do try to get out and get to as many events as I can. I try to hand out as much flags as I can, and it's just a good time for all veterans. It's a lot going on in the community, and we always have a good time and a good showing at the majority of the events.
Now, you've been there for a minute, and now you've got an assistant there.
Yes, we do. We have an assistant, Virgil Shaw. He's a retired RPD officer and a former Air Force veteran. Good guy, great guy. Can't say enough good stuff about him.
That's good.
Have you seen an increase in you guys' workload as a result? I mean, there.
Well, we naturally do see an increase simply because we now have the office open Monday through Friday. We have more access for the veterans to get in there. Like we spoke before, the problem was if I had to go to the fixed care facilities, the nursing homes, and so forth, that I had to leave the office, and veterans would pack up their stuff and come on into the office, and the door was shut. And it just wasn't it wasn't a good fit for our veteran population. They deserve more than that, long story short. And now we've got somebody in the office, so I can come do these events and get on the shows and hit the hospitals and read and just kind of go out and see the veterans and help them with their application process.
Yeah, I like the remodeling y'all did down there.
It did.
That's pretty neat.
The county has stepped up. They've done an excellent job. The veterans have a very nice office area where they can come and get their business taken care of. It's private. It's very, very nice. Better than what it used to be.
Yes, it is.
And now let's get right into Roger Stinson, who is here to represent the Memorial Committee of Veterans Park, and talk about the Huey, of when it's going to be here, and some of the grinding process you went through to get it here.
Yes. We had tried for 11 years to acquire a Huey through the congressmen and senators.
For the purpose of those who are non-military, a Huey is a helicopter. Okay, just so they'll know what we're talking about.
Yeah, the Huey has that distinctive sound. Most of you probably have heard it in a movie or seen it, the whoop, 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 whoop. And like I said, we had tried 11 years to acquire one. And we finally figured the only way we were going to get one was to purchase it ourselves. So the committee, Joe and Barb Goebel and myself and others, we called a meeting. We had located a Huey, a helicopter. And so we decided to put it to the people that are mostly involved in the park and help us out down there. And it went over so well, and I was so impressed because at the end of that first meeting, there were 11 commitments to $1,000 each from the veterans, which was a big start because our project goal was to raise $50,000. And it went over so well, we were just so pleased, and then it just snowballed with the community, the backing of the community, the businesses, the other veterans, the banks. And we lined up this Huey. And for those of you who have never been to Memorial Park, the Veterans Memorial Park, we have a lot of monuments down there. This Huey, which will be mounted 20 feet in the air, will be like a crowning touch to complete that park.
So why the Huey? Why not a Jeep or a truck, or what's so significant about this Huey that we want to bring it in?
Well, for anyone who's ever seen a Huey or had the privilege of riding on a Huey and to hear that Huey, it's just like a Harley Davidson motorcycle. You can tell by the sound that that's a Harley. The same way with this Huey. Once you hear that, and it's true that a veteran can hear a Huey 5 miles out coming in, whereas the civilian, it has to be right up on them before they can hear it.
That was significant in Vietnam, because when we heard the Huey coming, we knew we were getting some kind of help or assistance, didn't we?
Exactly, and you knew you were going to be extracted from a bad place, or you're going to get a bunch of supplies,
Right.
resupplied on your ammunition, and they would come in and take the wounded off of the battlefield, which saved a lot of lives compared to the Second World War in Korea. It took so long to get the wounded off of the battlefield to a facility. Many of them died before they ever got there. Whereas this Huey got them out of there and to a medical facility and saved so many lives.
Yeah. Many of them were gunships that provided additional firepower out there for the units.
They were used for gunships, troop insertion, troop extraction, supplies, medical dust. They were called dust-offs that came in and picked up the wounded. And a lot of the pilots were so brave, if they got a call that they had to go pick up 6 wounded, and they would calculate how much fuel they would need to get there and back, and they would not go with a full fuel tank. They would do away with a lot of that weight so that they could accommodate more bodies.
Wow.
And just some of the bravery and stories of that Huey. Now, this particular Huey that we're acquiring is a true warbird. It did a lot of time, over between 1,400 and 1,700 combat hours.
That's a lot.
And that's a lot. If you look at the average, that's a lot.
Did you have Hueys when you were in? What did they do when?
Same thing, troop support. That's ideally.
So just in and out, like
and
what he's saying.
Yeah, every
and
branch
the
of
gunships was the big thing. So
every branch of the service had Hueys.
Sure.
The Navy, as a matter of fact, the first casualty from Wayne County, Curtis Foster, was a dust-off on the dust-off crew that flew from a ship out in the water, and he was the first casualty, but that was due to a crash between 2 Hueys.
Oh my goodness.
Goodness.
And he was the first from Wayne County. And,
When are they bringing it to the park now? Tell us a little bit about that.
well, now we had a flyer out. I don't know, and it was on the radio and in the newspapers. Our original date was going to be this coming Saturday, May 11th. But we were notified by the crew that is preparing the Huey in Indianapolis. There's a regional airport in Fishers, Indiana, that we would have to go with that second date, which will be May the 18th. Now, they will be leaving Indy at approximately 9 a.m. on Saturday the 18th, and so anytime after 10:30 to 11, they should be arriving at the Veterans Park. Now, it's quite a deal to get that thing mounted. There is a 20-foot pole that it will be mounted on top of, and entails a crane. Now the crane and the services have all been donated by a veteran who has a crane. It's a little south of Eaton, Ohio. And he's a veteran, and he just fell in love with that project. So we're going to have to restrain the crowd from getting too close to the deal because of the dangerous equipment that's going to be there.
Don't want to get hit by a drop Huey.
And it will probably be a 4 to 5 hour assembly. So anytime that day, you know, if you don't want to be there at the beginning of it, but anytime during that day, you'll catch some of the action that's going on.
So when are we going to put the pole in that it's going to be mounted on?
It is already there.
It's already there.
It's there. It's
I've
been
been
there.
down there
About a month.
It's
Yeah.
been there for.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow, yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, every day since we had that first meeting, the committee and our dedicated helpers, other veterans, we've been involved in something, setting up this stuff. It's been a long, hard project, but it is worth every minute of it.
Is your office involved in what's going on with all
We
this with
advertise it.
Memorial Day?
We do the best we can to get
Sure.
the advertisement out there, but once again, it's just me and Virgil, so we don't have time to go out and solicit funding or do that, and plus it'd be on county time, so
Yeah.
we do what we can when we can.
Sure. Well, the UA is more of a Vietnam thing, isn't it? I mean, that's part of the.
That's basically
part of
that
it.
was certainly its training
Yeah.
ground, if you will.
Yeah,
Where-
because
where it began to
It
evolve.
was battle tested. It was just
Yeah.
a good utility.
I mean, I'm an Air Force guy, but I remember UA's going and coming all the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
The,
those guys.
it was severely tested in the first big battle
Yeah.
of Vietnam. That's where it proved its mettle, where its worth. That was when Colonel Moore, when they were ambushed in the Drang Valley, and there was a movie made of that. We Were Soldiers, and that's when it proved its worth. His unit had been assigned 40 Hueys just for that purpose, to see how mobile and how good it could be. And man, it really proved itself there. So then, boom! I mean, they ordered production of over 5,000 Hueys at that time.
Seemed to me they were using a lot of Cobras as gunships. Cobra's a little bit faster, isn't it? It's more faster than a Huey, isn't it?
Yeah, the Cobra,
right?
the Cobra
That's just a
gunship.
gunship.
The
Yeah.
Cobra
It's
gunship
primary.
is bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mean.
Yeah, that's
And they learned to coordinate. Some of the Hueys, and they had another smaller helicopter
Yeah.
that they would go in and draw the enemy out. You know, so they
51, something like that.
think
H-53s was the
Something
one
like
we
that.
had.
Yeah.
That was the big ones when I was pushing, but I know which one you're talking
the
about.
small
It just
one, the
can't-
small one,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
it was more maneuverable and fast, a lot quicker.
right, and they would go in and
And
draw
it'd
the
lure 'em
enemy
out.
Ah, what's the name of it?
and then they call a Cobra, and that Cobra would
yeah.
just eat 'em
Yeah, the
up.
Cobra was known for being bad. I mean,
Yes, it was. It was. Now, Cobra pilots were known as cowboys. Man, they, you know, where Huey was laid back and surveying everything and making his moves and knowing what it. But a Cobra, man, they were cowboys.
Yeah.
But
When they had when Tet 68 happened at Tonsanoo, Charlie, or the Viet Cong, had just about was coming, if you will, across the flight line. So they had the B-52s out bombing, but they had the Cobra gunships out there, if you will, loosening everybody up. And then when the 101st come in, they mopped everybody up with that. That kind of ended it real quick like. And Charlie was stopped. And who knows what damage would have been done if all that air power plus the 101st coming in, dropping in right in the rice fields and stuff where they were at. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
that's amazing to me how all that happened.
and sometimes they had to call in napalm right up
Yeah.
to their lines because
Yes.
they had tunneled underneath, and then they were going to attack, and they had to call in, and there is some dramatic footage of that. There's some dramatic footage. I mean, from here, like across the street from where you live, here comes that napalm in there.
Yeah.
But you had to take those measures to save the men.
And you didn't know where stuff was going because it just
And it was, you know what, I want to get back to the labor and the preparation that went into this Huey project. I don't know how many people know Joe Goebel, but he is one excellent welder
he is the man.
and artist with the metal. And he has put so much time, and we have gotten most of the material donated to build that pole. There's also a platform for the Huey skids to sit on. That's what will be mounted to the top of that pole.
Okay.
And he has just been invaluable, and his wife Barb have been invaluable because her capacity, she's probably been on the phone more than most people have in 6 months. And countless letters. I know there was over 65 letters that were prepared when we were trying to acquire a Huey off of the government. And just countless phone calls, because we would have to renew every year our application. But those two have just been invaluable. Ron Hill had a bunch of banners made. Some of you might have seen them at the park and a couple places in town, and the T-shirts that said "Bring Our Huey Home." And the donations that come in were just fantastic. And it's just been a wonderful project, and I wouldn't hesitate to do it again in a heartbeat.
So who decided to put it 20 feet in the air? The reason I'm asking is because that means I can't.
They basically,
Everybody can get in it.
That's probably.
That's probably why they did it.
I want to be able to get in there and sit down.
6 feet would have took you out, buddy.
Yeah.
You're too short.
yeah, that's basically the height that the other sites that we looked at where the Huey is. For instance, there's a place a little east of Lima, Ohio, or west of Lima, and it's a beautiful, but it's 20 feet in the air. And the other three here in Indiana, that's and like you said, we don't want people trying to get up there and get hurt. And the circumference of this pole is huge anyhow.
Build a wall around it.
Well,
If they get in it, they're going to have to bring a ladder. Let's put it that way.
yeah.
Long or short.
Now this our Huey, it never was shot down, but it was shot up so bad from underneath that they finally had to decommission it or retire it. And we've left the bullet holes in the bottom, the people that are preparing this. Of course, it's all been sealed, but you can still see the bullet holes. And it has to be sealed because if a bird or birds ever get inside, within 2 years, you don't have an interior in that Huey.
Isn't there a certain amount of closure with that, with some of the guys? When the Huey actually hits the park, because we got one of the best looking Veterans Park probably in the state, and the Huey is just kind of the final closure of that whole
Oh, yes,
thing.
it is.
That whole generation.
And if you've ever witnessed the crowds that show up when we bring in the traveling wall,
Yeah.
and we also hire the Huey from out of Peru, Indiana, the vets, like you said,
Yeah.
they'd love to come down there and just listen to that.
Yeah.
And
That one from Peru.
Peru,
Yeah, they let you get in that one.
yeah,
They give a place, don't
they
I climbed
actually they actually let you fly. They actually rides. They give rides.
Yeah,
And they are just jam packed when they do that.
yeah.
What did the Huey do when you were in?
It was
it
just
just-
a mule. I mean,
just-
they was phasing them out. They were not phasing them out. There wasn't as prevalent. I wasn't in the wing, nowhere near the wing, but they would just use for
Troop carriers.
troop transport supplies. We just referred to them as the worker. I always knew they was just the working one, and we had the big old CH-53s that did a little bit more. And it was, I mean, they was what they was. that's all. It was just all around good resource, good utility chopper.
Sure.
Chinook.
Yeah. Yeah, those are the ones you'd watch vibrate and think it was going to fall apart. You just watch the bolts and watch them slowly back off.
You're riding that thing, man.
That Chinook?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like a giant grasshopper coming into.
That's what you need to
Just
mount
wait
the
for the
Huey
bolts
with
to
is a
fall
Chinook.
off.
Yes,
Bring it in, set
that
it
would
on
be
there.
great,
Wouldn't
yeah.
need a crane or anything. Just drop it right there on that pole. Track it to Sunset.
Interestingly enough, the fellow that's supplying the crane, he is interested in a helicopter for his business to do that, to be able to lift the stuff instead of a crane.
Wow.
And
Well, that's the perfect
that'd be a
one.
big venture.
Chinook.
No,
Well,
they-
they make the
That'd be
utility
yeah.
ones in civilian world
They-
do that.
yeah, they had taken him
I don't know
over
what they
to
call those.
the hangar because he wanted to see what kind of equipment he needed to lift this Huey. You know, the straps, what size. And when he went in the door, they said he was like a kid in a candy toy store. He just, because they have two flyable Hueys over there.
Wow.
And this happens to be the younger brother of the person from Peru that we hired to fly the Hueys when we have the moving wall here. And this fella, he was just like a kid in a candy store.
So will they strap it down or bolt it down? How is all that? Is Joe going to weld it down or
It will be welded down.
plus other support? I'm sure more
Oh,
than
Lord, it-
just yeah, because the wind get a hold of it.
I'll tell you what, that pad that we poured down there and the rebar that went in it, if you had seen that, we could put a B-52 up there and it wouldn't.
How deep is that? Wasn't it like 10 feet, 16 feet?
Well, it wasn't that deep. It was almost 4 feet deep.
Was it?
But this rebar honeycomb, it wasn't just bars stuck in there. This thing was, and it was, the pad is 11 by 11.
Okay.
And that rebar was 11 by 11. And then the concrete on top of that, and then the bolts that were put in there were 1.5-inch bolts, and they were aircraft quality. So there's no danger of, now the blades, which has a 47-foot wingspan, but there is a mechanism to lock those in place where they won't spin.
Yeah.
And the skids, or the platform that the skids fit in, like you said, will be strapped or welded with stainless steel. And this outfit, or these people over there, this will be their third one that they've mounted here in Indiana. So they know what they're doing.
We're going to have to start shutting down just a little bit, and before we do that, I'd like to bring up to date on some of the services that will be held on Memorial Day, which is May the 27th, at Soldiers Hill. The Sons of Union Veterans will have a service at 9 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, there'll be a service at the Field of Honor. At 11 o'clock, there'll be a service at Veterans Park, and that will also be the indoctrination of the Huey to Wayne County.
Okay, I'm a location guy.
Okay.
So Soldiers Hill is in.
Richmond, Earlham.
Okay,
Right.
everybody may not know that. And the Field of Honor.
Field of Honor's in Earlham. When you pull in
Cemetery.
the gate, that's the first
Right.
path there. Yeah, you'll see all kinds of Legion guys and guys handing flags and all that stuff, so that's easy to get to.
And of course, our park is right off of the bridge there.
Right off of Main Street.
Okay.
Are you going to be involved at all in Veterans?
I'll be at the Veterans Park.
You'll be at Veterans
for sure.
Park.
Soldiers Field, I don't know yet. I'm gonna try to get out there. Do
Yeah.
at least one of them.
This will be a good time with the Huey. I know everybody's kind of been looking forward to it. I was hoping it'd be the 11th, but be things as they may, it'd be the 18th. But if it's going to take a 4 or 5 hour fix, I might very well be there by the end of it or something. So,
Well, of course, it'll be there permanently after that day. So
sure.
people that can't make it or down to see it then or don't want to be there then can see it. And it will be real visible from the Main Street
Yeah.
Bridge.
Right, good.
And one other little thing real quick. We think we have located at least 3 pilots that flew Hueys in Vietnam.
Wow.
Oh, man.
And to have them there at that dedication will bring
We need
tears
get
to
them
your
here.
eyes.
We need
Yeah.
to get them on the program.
It-
Yeah,
it-
if we
it
can,
make-
if we could get them here, that'd be good.
One lives here, real close up on Arbor Pike. So you might be able to get him in here. I don't know if they're
He
camera
tells
shy
some
or
good
what.
stories.
Huh?
I said he could tell you
Oh,
stories.
yeah.
yes.
You have his contact information?
I can get it. Joe does.
Good. Okay, good.
Joe
If you
does-
get it to one of us, we'll deal
Yeah,
with it then.
we'll deal with it.
Joe discovered it because he bought a blade off of him for his tractor. And they got to talking because the guy had a hat on, and Joe got to talking to him. Said, "What?" He said, "I was in the Army." He said, "Well, did you go to Vietnam?" He said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, what'd you do?" And he said, "I was a gunship pilot."
Wow.
So Joe's ears and antenna went up.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll follow up on that. Hey, listen, we're out of time, folks. We certainly appreciate you guys, Pete and Roger, you guys giving your time to come on today and
welcome.
share with the people. And Pete, your office, real quick, is in the county
Wayne
building.
County Annex building,
Okay,
yep.
for people military persons who are looking for services.
Stop on in, we can
come and
assist
see
you with
him.
your
All right.
benefits and steer you in the right direction.
All right, all right.
In that
You can
regards.
come meet Roger at the VBA meeting third Thursdays at the VFW, post 1108.
You mean the VBA chapter
Chapter
777 meeting? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, folks. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cronin Toyota and Cronin Nissan are honored to partner with Proudly We Served, as well as the continued support of our local active and retired military veterans across eastern Indiana.